Josh here. Sorry about the lack of videos last couple weeks. It's really my own laziness. I apologize again. Also, I want to say I don't know what the hell's happening with the new YouTube channel. Honestly, it won't update my description, so I'm temporarily reverting back to the old style until it forces me into the new one, and hopefully by that time, the problems will be fixed. So, having that said, today I am going to review Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen. Now, this is probably the second biggest movie of the summer. I'm betting money that Harry Potter's going to trump it, because those movies usually make around $900 million each. So, is it worth it? I mean, sure, the original Transformers, it was a pretty bad movie, but at least had some enjoyable parts, and I did think that Shia did actually benefit the movie to an extent, even though he was just Shia LaBeouf at whatever he does, you know. He does have a certain amount of charm to him. I do think the actor does in general. But, frankly, the first movie had so many problems, between Bumblebee pissing on John Turturro, and the fact that the Transformers did not have a proper, full-on fight with the Decepticons for the last 20 minutes. It was just a whole lot of problems. So, Transformers 2 tries to alleviate a lot of these problems. Unfortunately, in alleviating these problems, it creates all new ones, and Michael Bay, being the genius, quote-unquote, that he is, adds in some, frankly, just idiotic things that bring the level of the movie down to just a bare minimum. To start, the story is, well, frankly, far too complicated for a Transformers movie. I mean, this is a movie based on a fucking toy line. It should not be this hard to follow, especially considering that the first movie's plot was as simple as could be, and there's no reason why the franchise shouldn't follow suit. Basically, though, it revolves around the ancestors of the Decepticons, and the Fallen. It was their one leader in the past who was sealed away by his own compatriots to stop him from using a machine that would destroy the sun on Earth, which gives them energy to have robo-babies on Cybertron, and you know what, again, I'm not even going to bother summarizing it. It's fucking Transformers. If you like the first one, you'll go see this one regardless. Basically, though, it is about the ages-old Fallen and the Decepticons fighting the Autobots once more. Now, outside of that, Sam's going to college, and the story pretty much stops, I gotta say. Transformers, the Autobots, that is, are on the fritz with the government, because after a particularly nasty raid on a hidden Decepticon in Shanghai, they don't feel the damage costs that way the benefits. And there's a whole kind of governmental subplot. And I will give the movie credit for at least the military subplot in The Fallen is better than the last one. That's really not saying a whole lot. It's like saying I like better being punched in the stomach than in the face. But regardless, and I thought it really missed out a lot of opportunities on Sam as well. Even the juvenile humor this movie does have. I thought there could be a lot more done with the college premise. And if they're going the human route. And the Fallen route just seemed like a giant MacGuffin. I mean, it was basically, the movie boils down to, you need to find this, and then you take it there, and then you take it there to do this. I mean, it didn't seem to have, it just seemed just like a mechanical structure to it. And I find that ironic considering it's Transformers about robots. And yet, like I said, there is more robots in this movie. Many more robots. Frankly, one of the good things this movie does do is that they are more distinguishable than the previous movie. Not that they were undistinguishable there, but they have much more form to them now, and I appreciated that. However, a lot of the mainstays of the Autobots, like Ironside or Bumblebee, are just there. I mean, they never do anything. They appear for a couple minutes and then disappear. I mean, Optimus Prime is barely in this fucking movie, except at the beginning and the end, and that is a major, major problem. However, the Fallen, the new enemy, actually is quite cool. I'll give him that. And I am rating this on the cool scale, because frankly, that's the only thing Michael Bay was taking into consideration when making this. Because there are so many fucking plot holes in this movie, it is impossible to even summarize. I mean, even just the simplest of things. Bumblebee's voice. Why can't Bumblebee talk? He talked at the end of the last movie. He had his voice modulator fixed. I mean, what the fuck? Why is he still talking in radio? This is clearly just an executive meeting saying, oh, hey, you know what? People like that. Let's just do it again, regardless of logic. I mean, no, okay, I won't go further into it. Suffice to say, the story is shit in this movie. They try to do something neat with it. In fact, there actually even are a few interesting premises, you know? The Autobots teaming up with the military to have an anti-Decepticon strike force is actually a pretty cool idea, but lasts all about 10 minutes. And again, the college angle could have been okay, but also lasted for about 10 minutes of this 2.5-hour movie. And may I again stress, the length of this movie is a serious downside to it. I don't know why the movie needs to be this long, and especially after Fallen. Oh my god, this movie just kept the action going constantly, and I don't mean that in a complimentary way. It just kept going and going and going, and I mean, it was like a visual and audio bombardment. And I mean, it's not even that it was mixed incredibly well. Sure, you know what, this is probably going to sound great on Blu-ray, look great on Blu-ray, but it's not worth it. Now, like I said, I won't talk about the story anymore, so let's just go on to characters. You know what? I already kind of talked about this a little. I just want to make mention of one thing. I don't remember their names, but the two Autobot sidekicks, for lack of a better term, that follow around Sam on his quest. Holy fucking god. I mean, really? They talk in gangster speak, or in gangsta speak. They have gold teeth, and they say they can't read. Fuck, I half expected them to start working on the fields. I mean, what the hell, Michael Bay? Why does that even need to be in there? I mean, I felt offended. I'm not even fucking black. What the hell? And I mean, oh, yeah, let's not forget the dog humping. Oh, the robot humping. I just can't even fathom why so many people are going to see this movie. I mean, granted, I saw it, but that's because someone actually fucking paid for me. I did not pay a cent for this movie, and I am glad that I didn't. Because even though I didn't really like the original Transformers film, Revenge of the Fallen is worse. There are a couple cool bits. You know what? This movie strikes me as something you'd best watch in YouTube clips of the best parts of it. And the best parts of it, I do go on to the action. Now, I don't attribute the action to being really great, but there are some admittedly half-decent scenes. Though the camera is often too close up to really get a full-scale view of the battle, some of the fighting is intense. The only problem is, such as in the forest with Optimus Prime, and at the end with Optimus and Fallen. But the difference is that it's just only worth watching in parts because of the visual and audio bombardment, so that if you take it in short enough doses, it might be more enjoyable. Otherwise, I really can't think of much to redeem this movie. I mean, if you're going just on special effects alone, then, you know, I guess you'll get your money's worth. It's 2.5 hours of Transformers doing shit, but this is a bad movie. This is actually probably one of the worst movies I've seen come out of a summer season of late. And I heard this was a victim of the writer's strike, but this is just too much. I mean, I hope to God if Michael Bay decides to do a third one, and let's face it, it's coming. This movie's already made over $700 million. It's already beaten its predecessor. Let's just hope that they take a little more time. I don't expect it to be a fucking masterpiece, but just keep out the humping jokes and the racism. That'd be nice. And at least form a coherent storyline, you know. And if you're looking, I'll just touch on it very quickly before I go. The sound side of things, like I said, the mix isn't that great. It's overly bombastic, and not really thrilling at all after the first 10 or 15 minutes. But if you're looking on the soundtrack, it's even worse than the last one. You get this lame new Linkin Park song, and I'm not even dissing Linkin Park themselves. They're not a bad band, but I even like a few of their songs. But this is just not a very good one. I mean, even in comparison to the last one, it's like there was no effort put into this movie outside of the special effects team. There was no imagination, they've sucked any kind of charm out of Transformers. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, and if you absolutely must see it, then see it on the big screen, because I guess that's the best way to see it, this type of movie. But if you, at all possible, try and avoid this movie. It's not too good. Maybe rent it.